Oh my god. The Rick and Morty character. Yes.
It's uncanny, just like the real thing.
So Portrait of a Lady on Fire is the new film from Céline Sciamma. It stars Noémie Merlant and Adèle Haenel, and my goodness, this is possibly the best film of 2019. Oh my god!
Look, we both really love this one. Really love this one. All right, so this is a French romance set in the 18th century where we have a talented young painter who has been commissioned to do a portrait of another young woman who is soon to be married off to, well, I'll keep the circumstances of that marriage a little bit ambiguous because it's worth discovering for yourself. But basically what we have is the type of film that's just, you know, by this stage, you guys know that we're into stuff like this, and we're into this one. Stuff like this, we're into it. We're into this one. A lot.
Trying to review this film will be difficult because trying to give words to the experience of what it is to experience this film is just ridiculous because it is...
Yeah, look, I'm still kind of broken.
Jaw-dropping, I'm just far out.
There's, you know, we love a good romance film, especially it seems to be that most of the romance films that we've seen in the last couple of years that have totally blown us away have also been queer films as well. And the trend of these movies being absolutely breathtaking has not been broken with Portrait of a Lady on Fire. This is absolutely seminal work from a director and a cast and an entire crew who was working towards making something beautiful. That's, I think, the least of what this film is. It's beautiful for sure, but it's so many other things, and I don't even know where to start trying to explain those things to you.
It's just an astonishing achievement. I would say it's a milestone in cinema. Like there's moments in here that
it's a masterpiece.
Cinema history.
Yeah, there's so much in it where I'm like, I've never seen that before. I don't think I've ever felt that in that type of way before. This movie is everything. We talk about humanity and empathy and that human connection on this channel a lot. It's the thing that we definitely adhere to the most in movies, and Portrait of a Lady on Fire is overflowing with these things. This is such a deeply kind of personal film, and I'm not saying, you know, I don't really know too much about the director, so I don't know just how close she was with this material, but it's the type of film that, I mean, I feel personal with it. I feel like across the 2 hours that I spent with this film, I just gained this incredibly deep connection to these characters, to this world, and to this story.
It's love. Like the film portrays love in the most intimate and simple possible way, in a way that we can connect as humans, watching other humans fall in love. Films like this don't come around too often. And when you see it, it's clear that the experience of the actors is something that they will take with them for the rest of their lives, because the raw material that they create on screen is absolutely magical. It's otherly. Like when I speak of some of my favorite artistic moments and some of my favorite moments in cinema, it's otherly. It's both human and it's something else. And here, what these two leads have created is a journey of love that is transcendent. It's something that you can connect to and will stay with you, honestly, with me, for the rest of my life.
It goes beyond great chemistry. It goes beyond phenomenal chemistry. It's something deeper. It's something where you can feel the two performers had a connection that went beyond that, as you've said, that transcended that. And it is clear in every single moment of this film. This is not action-packed, pulse-pounding cinema, and yet I found my pulse pounding the entire time. This movie is just awash with human emotion, with the vibrancy of love, with the vibrancy of feeling and intimate human connection. The movie sets up this wonderful thing where, yeah, it's a story about a painter being asked to observe someone in order to paint them. And so we are tuned in through the language this movie uses to communicate with us, to pay attention to the smallest details, the smallest intricacies in these people, to really get to know them and understand them, to really get to see them in the most intimate way possible. And I think there's a moment where everyone watching this movie will realize that. We definitely realized that that was the case. We were being asked to observe so deeply. And when that happens, you are gonna find yourself endeared no matter what. At least I found myself like that, and you did too.
Something that I think that is really important to note about this film that you may not recognize whilst watching or even upon reflection, but the context in which this film is set. It's set in the 18th century and it follows women. Now, women in that time period have a certain way of behaving and a style and restrictions. Why? Because of society and men and the patriarchy and everything else in between. So what this creates for the film is a certain beauty and a certain stillness, a fragrance of elegance that just is, that comes across in both performance and the way in which this film is captured, that I don't think I've ever seen any film quite do like this one does, because it allows you to engage in such a deeper level because everything is restricted. The performances are there's a reservation. They're reserved. And so when, these performances are reserved, it asks us to dive in deeper. It asks us to try to bridge the gap, to get closer. And that kind of gives this movie this unbearable tension of wanting to get to know these people better. It's working in subtlety and simplicity and subtext the entire time. So you're just sitting there going deeper and deeper and deeper as the film goes on. It's just cinema. Cinema!
I am not exaggerating when I say that I feel like this movie hit a point where time just was displaced completely, and it felt like I was floating in the same way that truly, deeply being in love feels, that passion where time falls away and all you see is the other person. And that's what I was like with this movie. All I could see was these characters, this beautiful concoction of all of these delicious, things that come together to make beautiful cinema, to make beautiful art, are all just existing and interacting in this, rectangular screen. And there was a moment where, that just fell away for me. And, the movie ended and I was like, oh, and it's gone. It was fleeting and it's past. And I feel like this is one of those movies that kind of, for me, has gone beyond just the experience of watching a 2-hour film. It just, something else happens, something magic.
You know what's really magic about this, man, is the fact that, in love, we fall in love with the other person in our lives. But in cinema, when we're watching something like this, we're falling in love with both characters. And so it's a tragedy. We're seeing love evolve before our own eyes, and we're falling in love with both of these people. And so we fall victim to the tragedy in the end.
You gotta let them go. At some point, you gotta let them go, and it hurts.
It kills.
It hurts because we fell in love with these characters. We fell in love with this movie. There's more art per second in this than I can really even quantifiably get, I can't even tangibly explain that, describe to you just what we felt watching this film. It's just everything like that.
And yet, for all its artistry, it is just simple. It's simple storytelling. And it's not simple without complexity. It's complexity with simplicity.
It's brushstrokes on a canvas.
Yes.
You was a big fan of that one?
Oh, big fan.
And as those simple strokes overlap and interact and blur together, you end up building together something that is so much more than the sum of its parts. This is a movie where every frame is quite literally a painting. There is not a single shot in this which I was not staggered by its artistry, the composition, the flow, the texture, the color. There's almost a flavor to every single shot, to every single moment. And I
didn't feel like a single moment wasn't worth my viewing through the entire film. Every single moment, I'm like, give me more. Please give me more.
It's like we didn't deserve to be witnessing what we were witnessing.
No, literally. I was just floored in every single aspect of this film. Céline Sciamma's direction, for instance, the juxtaposition she creates in some of her images and the elements she decides to contrast are just heartbreaking. The performances here are heartbreaking. And I literally mean that. You will walk away with a broken heart. The cinematography will just blow your mind, and the soundtrack will just soothe your soul.
See, you're talking heartbreaking, and I don't know if heartbreaking is exactly right. It's more like it set my heart on fire, and I don't know if that's how you feel about it. It feels like everything about this movie ignited something within me. It ignited a passion and an energy and this ferocity that I feel like I want to take out into every single day. This is a movie about passion, about love, about art, about expression, about observing, about seeing each other really deeply and intimately, getting to know people by looking at them, by actually taking in all that they are. And this movie set all of that on fire.
This is the most exciting and inspiring piece of art I've seen in 2019.
So those are our thoughts on Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Have you seen it yet?
Did you love it?
Did you hate it?
Did you like this video?
Of course you did.
Crave more banter?
If so, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel down there somewhere, as well as our other channel, my other channel, over there somewhere.
Don't forget to check us out on Twitter and Instagram.
And of course, if you do really want to help support this channel, you can support us on Patreon. Everyone doing that already. You're just the best. We love you. And we will see you in the next video. Or I'll see you in the next video, and you...
Maybe. We'll see how we go.